Welcome to Beyond the Bubble podcast, featuring monthly talks and updates on Viking men's basketball, where they're at and what they're up to.
But welcome to Beyond the Bubble podcast. I have special guest Connor Entzi with us today. A big name.
I don't know about that one, man.
Everybody knows. Hey, you want to put that mic like right in front of you?
Really close?
Yeah.
This is good, Mitch? Alrighty, there we go.
Perfect.
Now we're digging.
Yeah, he had to instruct me on that like the first couple times that I did it too. But yeah, you're a big name around here, man. And the people know you. People remember you. Yeah?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah?
But
The Edgeley native,
yeah?
right? What year did you graduate from high school again?
2016.
2016.
From Edgeley HS.
Edgeley HS. What's the mascot there again?
We are the Edgeley Cullum Rebels.
Edgeley Column Rumbles.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
We like to rebel. I don't know. I don't. In the co-op meetings, it wasn't very original. I don't think. Once upon a time,
Really?
they're talking about that. It used to be the Edgeley Rangers
Rangers.
and the Cullum Gophers.
Gophers. See, I was a gopher.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Gophers, man.
Yeah. Well, my dad was a lair leopard once upon a time before that
Lair
place
leopard.
closed. So
Really?
he actually they had like a reunion not too long ago. Maybe it was, I don't know how many years. He was telling me about it the other day. But
Cool. Cool. Well, part of the reason I wanted to invite you, this is not the only reason I want to invite you. Obviously, I want to sit down and talk to you because I miss you.
yeah.
But I wanted to have somebody who is recently graduated from Valley City State, and a face that everybody probably remembers immediately. And you were the first guy that popped up into my mind.
Okay. Well, thank you. But
Yeah. So because I think it's really cool to bring guys that are kind of just freshly out of college and just kind of get their perspective on how things have changed for them in just a year, and I think you're that guy. So let's talk about it. Where are you living now?
So after I graduated, I moved to Detroit Lakes, Minnesota.
Okay. And what are you doing there?
I am a public accountant for a firm called Hager-Comer CPAs based out of Fargo.
Based out of Fargo.
Yep.
Okay.
They got offices in Bismarck, St. Cloud, the cities. Just bought one in Arizona.
Okay. So how do you spell it?
Haga.
Haga.
Yep, and then Kommer CPAs.
Komppr.
No, Kommer.
Oh, it popped right up.
Yeah.
Hagercomer.com. Is that right? Am I
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Is your face on there?
Yeah. You can find me on the
Oh.
Detroit Lakes team.
Mitch, do you want to share my screen right now? Can you do that? Perfect, man. God, he's good. So where do I find you?
If you go to offices maybe or locations,
Offices or locations?
something like that on that ribbon up there.
Got client center, contact, Fargo location.
Go to Detroit Lakes location maybe.
Yep,
Should
there
be
it
an
is.
option,
Yep,
yeah.
I got it.
And then maybe you can hit DL team or something like that.
No, not on there.
Unless I gotta maybe click on it for you.
That's
I don't know how
all
to
right.
explain it, but
Well, I'd like to give you a little pub, so you can schedule a consultation.
yeah.
So if I scheduled a consultation, I went on there, I could, they just an email, but
Yeah. I think if you go to locations and then
offices.
maybe, offices.
There we go.
Detroit Lakes team.
Detroit Lakes team.
Yeah.
So Judy,
Yep, that's my boss.
that's your boss.
Mhm.
Okay, she's a CPA.
Mhm.
Where did she go? She went to Minnesota State University Mankato. She's a Mav.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm gonna butcher his name. Bruce
Immelt.
Immelt.
Mhm.
Okay. Bachelor of Science, Moorhead State.
Mhm.
He's a dragon.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm. Once upon a time.
And this must be his son, Kyle.
Yep. Kyle. Yep.
Okay. And he is also a dragon.
Yep.
And then Stearns, Jolie Stearns,
Yep.
M State. I don't know what M State that
I think
is.
that's just a technical college,
Okay.
like M-State Tech.
Okay.
They got campuses all over, maybe.
Fergus?
Fergus.
It is Fergus Falls.
Mhm.
Karen, how do you say her name?
Oh God. Ofelke.
Ofelke. Okay.
I might have butchered that. I'm sorry, Karen, if you listen to this. So she's
She's going to hit you with her purse.
yeah, no, she's our front desk lady, and she's the best. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's a Detroit Lakes native, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Matt
Beckris.
Matt Beckris.
Huge golfer.
Is he?
Huge golfer, yeah, like scratch golfer, really good.
Big hitter?
Yeah, big hitter, yeah.
He looks like he can hit it.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a dragon. Man, a lot of dragons.
Yeah, I know. It seems like it's pretty common, like Detroit Lakes or like even like Lake Park, Audubon, all those towns like right around Fargo. You either go to Concordia, MSUM, or even NDSU.
Okay.
All of them. It seems like it. But.
And is Bob his dad?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So funny, like kind of long story short, why there's a lot of like sons and then dads and whatnot. They were actually bought by Hager-Comer like a couple years back. So they were like a mom and pop's like CPA firm in DL, but then they were bought out. And
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Cassie Westland.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I got that one right.
Yep.
M State again.
Mm-hmm.
There he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So are you the Bambi in terms of?
I am the newest.
You look sharp, man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, look at that tie, Mitchell. Look at that tie and shirt combo. Right? That is nice. Connor, man, you are the best dressed. You used to wear sweatshirts. That's all you used to wear.
Yeah, I know it was comfy, and it was either class or the bubble. I mean, or even with like some of the stuff we had to deal with in COVID, it might have been my house in the bubble. That was about all I ever went.
Sure. So, what does your firm like specialize in besides? I mean, obviously it's an accounting firm, right?
Yeah, accounting firm. So anything from like audit services, accounting services, consultation services, tax services. A lot of it kind of is tailored towards maybe like small like business owners, like obviously being in DL, like a lot of like mom and pop shops, construction businesses, restaurants. And on top of it, like there's even a little like wealth management branch that we have too as well. And then we actually have a bank in Fargo called Aspire Financial that goes with Aspire Insurance.
Okay.
And just basically kind of your one-stop shop for anything like whether it's like a family that needs like tax services or retirement planning, kind of take it all in, I guess, if you want to go that way. But,
that's a lot. That's a lot. So you are a certified CPA?
Nope.
Nope, not yet?
Haven't passed all 4 parts yet.
Okay.
That's still in the works yet.
But you're close?
Yeah, I got one test down, sitting for another one in a couple weeks, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 4-hour tests. They're kind of a beast. About 4. Yeah, there's 4 4-hour tests.
So there's 4 of them. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, I got to get them all done in an 18-month rolling period once I pass the first. So,
really? And is that supposed to be done after you graduate?
Yeah, after basically you get 150 credited hours from like an accounting program, business program, and then you have to have so many hours of like upper level accounting courses, which I had to take online through Dickinson while I was here.
Oh.
And and then you have to have so many hours of like experience on the job and.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of a whole process to get it done, and it's kind of
it
stressful.
Sounds
if
like
I'm being honest, but
like if I had to do that in coaching, oh man.
Yeah. So like even like on the job this year, like even like during tax season, I would work about 60 to 70, maybe 80 hours a week, and then I'd still go home and study for 1 to 2 hours a night. Now it's like maybe 8-hour days, but I still go home and study 2 or 3 hours a night.
So you can't wait to be done with those tests.
Yeah.
That's basically it, huh?
Yep. And then, like doctors get the comma MD. I can be Connor Entzi, comma, CPA.
CPA. See, I have the MS, not the disease. I'm not okay. The master's thing about it, and that was a 2-year thing to get that. And it's amazing that we concentrate on those initials. And that makes us higher in society, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of wild, honestly. Cause,
I'm no smarter than I was back when I was, going into those classes. And, like, I shouldn't say that. I just, it is important to go through it and go pay your dues and do those things. I'm not trying to shoot it at, like, higher education in terms of, like, it's not important or anything. I just know me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm no smarter than I was before. I might have a little bit more knowledge into what I'm doing or find some certain instances that prepared me. And that's why I say paying the dues is relevant.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be doing those things in order to be better at your job.
Yeah, most definitely. It kind of just shows your employer that you showed up at so
Right.
and so time. You were there.
You have the
completed
discipline.
This. It's
Yeah.
about really all it is, I think, to tell you the truth. But
Obviously, it's kind of a, it's kind of a question that I know it's rhetorical in certain ways, but you enjoy what you're doing.
yeah, I'm enjoying it. A lot of people, when I tell them what I do, they're like, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
you like doing taxes and
Yeah.
accounting for a living?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I get to work with a lot of different individuals / different like types of business owners that are super neat, and no two businesses are alike.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I can't really say like names of like different businesses I work with, but like I can give you like I work with restaurants. I even work with like a YouTube group,
Oh,
which is kind of very
that's gotta be nuts.
yeah, it's a lot to kind of take in when you're looking at when you do like their monthly bookkeeping, their monthly financials.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you can and cannot divulge. That's
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
But how does you get to see their financials and stuff probably. So
Mhm.
where do they get most of their finances from?
Well, they're pretty successful with like how many subscribers they get. So they get a lot of money just comes from like YouTube and like Google, just straight from like views.
Okay.
And then they have like
like that's where I'm confused.
Mhm.
Like we don't get any money for views on this,
I
right,
think
Mitchell? Not yet. But so how do so if you subscribe to a YouTube channel,
Yep.
do you have to pay for that?
Nope, you can subscribe if I'm not mistaken. Mitch might more too, but no more too. But like you subscribe, and then basically the amount of views like a video gets, and then the amount of times like an ad rolls over that video, then
YouTube pays you.
Yeah, they'll pay you as
based
a
on your
creator.
amount of views.
Am I pretty spot on when I say that? Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old in regard,
Mm-hmm.
I'm old in regards to this, meaning I'm like like your dad trying to figure out a smartphone.
Yeah.
I'm YouTube old.
Mm-hmm.
So you gain money and YouTube pays them based off of how many views they get.
Yep.
Oh, okay. And then obviously advertisements probably help with that.
Yeah. The advertisements that come across, that's how they kind of base it on how much they get, like the amount of views you get and the amount of times that ad plays over that video when somebody's watching it. That's how I don't know how the formula works for that, but
okay.
Basically more views, like you get 1 million views, you're probably going to get
some bank.
Pretty good a check that month from YouTube.
Yeah. Well, cool. Sorry to get off subject. I just think that's interesting. Like you get to look at those things and see how these things generate themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's super interesting. When people tell me I have a boring job, I'm like, not necessarily. I get to see a lot of different interesting ways like how people make a living.
Mm-hmm. So did you prepare people's taxes this year?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This was my first busy season, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
So
because you're not a CPA yet, so does somebody have to sign off on that?
Yeah, so like I kind of do a lot of like the man kind of, if you want to say it, the man work. Like you do a lot of like the
grunt work.
Yeah, the grunt work, putting all the guts together for the return, getting basically all the information you need, entering in the system, and then you got to do a little self-review too. You kind of got to look at the different forms and see like. There's like a carry forward, a carry loss rule, how depreciation works. Just kind of make sure everything kind of ties out the way you want it to and kind of look at the end picture. Yeah. And once you kind of do all that like analytical stuff, then you can kind of submit it to your partner, your preparer, your signer or whatever, and they can review it and sign off on it, and out the door it goes.
So when you become a CPA, you just have to eliminate that last part, right? You're able to.
Yeah, you can to a certain extent, but like
your boss probably wants to double check.
Yeah, exactly. And my boss, she still prepares returns too, and then she'll have like somebody else like with a certain amount of years under their belt, like just look it over to make sure she didn't make a 9 a 0 or just stuff like that too. So.
Sure. Cool, man. So you're living in Detroit Lakes, obviously. Do you have an apartment? What do you got?
Yeah, I got an apartment.
Yeah.
Just for now. Hopefully, maybe within a few years, maybe, upgrade a little bit,
Make a house?
I don't like renting, so I think it's just money you throw out the window, but that's just my opinion.
See, we're different.
Yeah.
We're different. have yet to own a house in my life. And we might be changing that soon. But I've always been one of those guys that I'm not a maintenance guy in regards to my physical things like a truck or any of that. I guess my wife's going to say that's a lie. I do take care of my stuff and everything, but I've never viewed it as throwing away money because I get to live there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's still providing, I'm still putting money towards a shelter. And that's okay. That, you know, I think a lot of people do that now, but you view it differently.
Yeah.
And that's okay. What's your view on it?
Well, the way I see it, like, by instead of paying rent, paying money towards a mortgage, you're getting equity in that, whether you want to call it an asset or that property. And then when you sell it someday, hopefully that equity maybe appreciates someday, or you kind of have like a basis in the next thing you try to go buy.
Do you want to make money?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I'm just we're different in regards to that. I'm a basketball coach, and all I concentrate on is getting basketball players and winning.
That's fair. That's fair.
The minute you start stressing me out with houses and all those things, I'm just like, But yeah, it's slowly changing. I'm growing up, Connor.
Yeah, I know.
I'm growing up.
I'm growing up slowly too. Still got a ways to go. But.
I don't want you to. Like I always told you, stay young, man. Stay young. So, you know, let's kind of move into, I want to ask you about what, you know, you're a year out now of college.
Yep.
And I remember when I think back to my days of doing that, the world came at you fast.
Yeah, it sure does. I don't think it's changing anytime.
So what immediate changes have you noticed?
Maybe like a lot of it, like I know probably within like 2 or 3 months, like mom and dad kind of slowly started kicking me off certain things. Had to, whether it's like set up for this to get paid for, set up for this to get paid for, make sure it gets paid for. Even just like, crap, dang, I haven't gone grocery shopping in a week. I should probably go do that so I actually maybe eat something today. I don't know. But honestly, it's just kind of like little things that you never really think about when you're just kind of going to school, playing hoops. It just kind of really comes full circle, or you got people talking to you about health insurance, or maybe you should start saving for retirement, all this just stuff that you're just like, what, I'm 23, 24 years old at the time, and who needs to think about that right now? I still got my whole life ahead of me to think about this stuff. But
was it things that you thought, like, okay, you had some perspective or some foresight when you were kind of in your last year? Did you have like any foresight to that stuff, like a cell phone bill or something like that?
Like, yeah, I had some. Like, I had to pay for my car while I was in college. I had to make the monthly payments for that.
A lot of people don't have to do that.
I had a job throughout college, and I paid a lot of my bills just through that too.
Props to your parents, man. Yeah.
Well, you know, they're teachers. I don't think there's a whole lot really to help me out with, but they got me through the first 18 years and helped me out with some other stuff.
They helped you out in a different way, though, don't you think? Like,
yeah, they definitely provided a lot for me, especially with like all the different AAU stuff they would drag me to, or not drag me to, they would take me to.
Yeah. But, well, I'm just saying, like, they helped you out by giving you the discipline needed to understand what it takes to have those things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, most definitely. My parents were very good at kind of showing me the way, maybe being brutally honest with me at times.
Right? I mean, your view might be different than mine and maybe even Mitchell's, but, like, those things sometimes get lost. Like, I know, like, I remember getting in fights with my parents to be like, hey, you need a job. I'm like, I already have one. I play basketball. Like, well, how are you going to pay for your car? And I'm like, well, I was expecting you to do that, you know? Yeah. But you're like, well, then you don't have a car. And I'm like, right?
Yeah.
Or you don't have those Oreos or something that, you know, just in your cupboard, you know? And I think a lot of kids take that stuff, you know, for granted. And then when they get out in the real world like you just have in the last year or so, it just hits them way too hard, man.
Yeah.
and then they struggle for a little bit, but then they figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think your parents prepared you that a little bit earlier, which is great.
Yeah, I think they did, honestly, too, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So say thank you to your mom and
Yeah,
dad.
I know. Big shout out to Rory and Melissa if they're listening.
So the immediate like changes or like those little I shouldn't say little responsibilities, but like the financial responsibilities that you just don't know that they take care of, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Those kind of hit you.
Mm-hmm. Or even like, I don't know, it's like, okay, don't take this the wrong way.
That's
okay,
all right.
To the viewers out there, but like even just simple as like, crap, I should probably schedule a dentist appointment. My mom did that for me all the time, like
Right.
like just stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do go to the dentist, but I'm just saying that was an example. I thought of that the other day, and I'm like, I should probably go to the dentist. It's been a while. It's
Right.
been about a year. I should probably do that. Usually, mom just made it for me, and she'd tell me when to go.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you got to start taking care of your own health too.
Yeah.
Like, and I know we're talking about like people are like, really, dude, like, but I remember when I had to schedule like a major health thing, and I had no idea how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, and then guess who the first person that you call is? Mom or dad.
Yeah, mom or dad, and if you call dad, she'll probably tell you to.
Dad will tell you to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? And mom will be like, oh, you got to do this and this and this and this, and then you try to ask her to do it, right? And then she kind of snaps back at you, says no, and then that really hits you. You're like, what do you mean no? You've done this for 18 to 25 years or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Or I even call my mom for stupid, just the dumbest things I just have never really even thought about before. Like, I don't know, like, can I wash this with this? Because in college, I'm going to be honest, everything just was cold water.
Right.
Just throw it all in, it's all going through. Or it's like with my dress shirts, even like ironing them or something like that. I'm like, Mom, I don't think I've really done this before. How should I maybe do this? How should I wash them? Or just the randomest of things like that.
Yeah, and I had some things here that are written down that I wanted to ask you in regards to that stuff, but you've kind of answered all of them, which is good. Do you notice yourself? How would I say that? Time. What's your time like? Like, how much time do you have in a day now compared to like college and stuff like that? Do you have more, less, even?
Well, you see, playing basketball in college was kind of like a full-time job, and then going to class and then juggling my job, part-time job like I did. It was, I don't know, days were pretty busy, I will say. But I mean, now that, I don't know, I've kind of get rid of 3 of those things, basically. I have a job now. It kind of frees up a little more for like other stuff to do, but I mean, it still feels like the days fly by, it seems like.
Right.
Especially Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And then the weekends go by in a flash of an eye, and it's back to work Monday.
Weekend warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all good stuff, man. I'm really happy for you. Like, just seeing your business profile picture here brings joy to me because like that's the goal.
Yeah.
Put you on those websites and make sure you're making good money and you got yourself set up for a while, which sounds awesome. I mean, I know that's the VCSU way, and I know they're, that's our job.
Yeah.
We want to put you in the best spot possible after. Well, let's talk about fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Okay.
Okay. Like, I'm not saying that your life's not fun. I'm just like, let's talk a little basketball.
Yeah.
Looking back on your career, obviously I have things that I remember and all those things, coaching you for those, was it 3 years or 4 years?
4.
It was 4. Yeah. Because you were, we won't talk about where you were before.
Yeah. That might be a cardinal sin around here.
But, in those 4 years, what do you remember? Like, what's the things that stick out?
Like broad or like
anything
memories?
And everything, yeah.
I don't know, the relationships I made throughout my time here. I met some of my best friends I still talk to this day. The thrills, just like all the memories in the bubble or the road trips with the guys. Like, I don't know. I don't think you can really recreate those, like, because I think a lot of guys don't realize that once you the ball stops bouncing for you when you leave here, it's not going to necessarily be the same when you go play like pickup games or whatever it might be. You can still kind of lace them up every once in a while, but it's never going to be the same when you're playing with those guys in front of like all your friends you see on campus. And yeah, it's Yeah, that's probably the biggest part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the kind of the common thing when I ask that question is like, well, the relationships. And, you know, not many people say, well, I remember how many points I scored, or I don't remember how many rebounds I had. And some people do. I'm not going to say anything, but I would say the majority of the people is always about the relationships that they were able to make, the friends that they have and they currently have, which is great. That's what we want. You know, if you were to sit in front of me, you know, as your coach, your former coach, and you would say, well, I just remember not getting along with that guy. Or I remember those long bus rides that really sucked. And I remember getting yelled at a lot and all that type of stuff. Then I'd be like, man, I failed.
Well, it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but, you know, you got to kind of just take it all as it is and just enjoy the journey, because once you get to the destination, hence graduation, it's over, you know. You got to enjoy those little things kind of along the way.
And I think I always told you guys this. I said, I don't want this to be the best 4 years of your life or the best 2 or 3 or whatever it might be.
Well, it should be maybe like a chapter, I guess, in the book. That's kind of maybe what...
It was it was a really cool chapter,
it was a
right?
really fun chapter in the book.
Yeah, because like right now, I you know, I'm jealous looking at some, you know, just knowing where you are in your life, because that was a fun time for me right out of college. Is like, man, it's mine now. Like, and you know, some people get scared and all that stuff. And that's okay. Like, the world's a scary place. But you know, when I was your age, I was like, you know, I'm like, let's go tackle this. Let's make the most out of it, and let's chase what I want to do. Because there's a lot of people that I feel don't chase those things. They just try to get by and survive, and that's when they get in those bad ruts. And the minute that you start just living to doing the thing that you most enjoy and not really caring about how it's financially going to help you all the time, I feel like that's when you're the most happy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes money makes you happy, though. Like,
and it helps, but I think it's more of a temporary thing. It's not going to necessarily give you like fulfillment at like the end of life, because you can't take it with you into the grave.
Right. I was just telling my wife last night, I think actually, was, or telling Lily and her, and said, my goal is to die broke. That means either my daughter has it or somebody else has it that needed it. And because, like you just said, it's not going in the casket with me unless I'm a really bad person, you know, and bury me with my money, you know. I'm like, that's...
Do you make that like will public, or that last wishes public then, so we can read it just to see how that would look like?
Right. I'm not. Yeah. I just think, you know, when I'm gone, being able just to say that there's nothing left besides of memories and impact on people, I think that would be the way to go. Yeah. Other people view differently, but you know, I'm not going to ask you what you view of that yet. You're too young to start thinking of stuff like that.
There's no morbid thoughts quite yet about all that, but
but you know, so let's go back. Do you remember any specific games or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a few of them that kind of stand out throughout my time. I know like would have been maybe my first year here, probably like after those first 2 years were a little rough, I think, if you can kind of recall just a little bit. But
yeah,
there's a few bright spots, maybe just a kind of couple fun games, but must have been the first time Austin Lee, maybe he beat Mayville. We beat Mayville in overtime, season finale.
Okay.
Remember that game?
Vaguely. I think we played Dakota Wesleyan right before it.
Maybe. I remember
let's look it up.
It was like a Saturday afternoon, and we beat them in overtime, and it was a really high-scoring game, too, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I do. I think we were playing really well at the time.
Yeah, we were kind of beating some teams that we probably shouldn't have beat, given the roster that we had at the time.
Yeah. We were going through some major changes during that time. Was that 1819 or 1920?
Let's see here. 1819, yeah.
Yeah, 1819. Yeah, and I know we were in transition between rosters at that time and switching the old with the new, and there was a lot of things going on then. But Yes. So February 16th, 2021, or 2020. 95-87 against Mayville State.
Yeah, OT, right?
It didn't say OT, so let me just make sure that this is the right game. Austin Lee was on the team. He played 8 minutes. You were on the team played 35 minutes, had 24 points.
Oh, okay.
Is that the game?
I don't know. I thought it was overtime. I remember overtime, and I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah, you had a hell of a game there, Connor. You were 10-17, 3 for 6 from three-point line, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, only 2 personal fouls. 1 assist, 5 turnovers. We won't talk about that part.
I was still kind of learning a little bit at the time. I think that was probably my first real year.
Yeah, and 24 points. So, yeah, that was great.
But then obviously, like the time we beat the Jimmies here in town, that was also
that one I know was a big one for you.
That was a really fun day.
What year was that? That was 2 years ago?
I think that was COVID year.
Yeah, so we were pretty good that year. So in 2020, we were 19-7, 10-2 at home, and we got our butt kicked by them at their place.
But that was a lot of new faces on the roster. That first game of the year, COVID was a little uncertain when we were going to play, how we were going to play. And so, I don't know, something just clicked, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the next game after that.
Yeah, so we got our butt kicked by Jamestown, at Jamestown, which you can view that one way or the other, that a blessing or kind of like whatever. And then we go beat Dakota Wesleyan, who finished first in the GPAC that year.
That was like first time here in Valley City beating Dakota Wesleyan for me too. I don't know if it was the same for you, but
it was my first time. Yep. And I think it was only the second time we played them, but I can't remember. But it's a big win. It was a good win. And then we killed Mount Marty.
Yeah, I remember that game. Mr. Eddie Oyet, I think, had a day and a half, maybe.
Yeah, did he? Was that the game? Eddie Oyet. Yeah, he had 20.
Yeah, big shout out to Eddie.
Yeah, we already miss Eddie here. And we go beat them pretty well. And then so it was the COVID year. We were supposed to play Mayville, but I know there was a COVID reason we couldn't.
We still played them twice, though, I think, that year.
Yep.
The conference
I think we split. Did we split or sweep?
I think we...
I can't remember. I'll look it up. And then, we beat Jamestown 99-83 at home.
Yeah, no, that was a fun day.
Yeah.
I forget if it was either Josh Kelly or Tate really had a good day that day.
It was Josh.
Yeah, Josh. Yeah, he had a bunch of really huge buckets kind of down the stretch that really kind of put it out of reach.
Yeah. You had a decent day. You were 5 of 7, 1 of 2 from 3, 1 for 3 from the free throw line, 5 personal fouls. There's the Connor.
Hey, I think I just got screwed over on some charge counts, but we won't talk about it.
Was that the game you got a technical?
I don't know. Was Mickey reffing? Because there's a good chance maybe.
No fouls, but I remember it was a Jamestown game that you got teed up for taking a charge or something like that, because you kind of just went like this, and he teed you up right away.
I know. You must have woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day. I don't know. Thought you had to maybe cuss or, I don't know, yell a little bit maybe to earn one. But
yeah, so that was a good game to remember. That was a good one. So any other ones?
Maybe that first year again. Maybe we beat Dickinson. Probably we shouldn't have had to. Another one.
Same year?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I remember that one at the end there, 78-69.
Yeah.
Beat Dickinson at Dickinson.
And we probably had no business doing that either, but it was still fun.
And then we beat him the next game in the playoffs, 76-51. And that's a pretty good win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then we lost those pesky Bruins down in the semis again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then what else have been? I feel like even the last year here was it maybe beating Mayville, right? We lost to PC the night before. And
I do recall that one, Connor.
I don't know. I think I maybe rallied the troops a little bit that Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
So,
I think I had some choice words after that game, and then we just played our minds out the next day.
Yeah, that was really weird as a coach.
Yeah.
Because
Trust me, it was weird for me too.
we play presentation on January 22nd, 2022 or something. And we win 84-65 down at presentation. Or no.
We lost to PC and
yeah,
PC that
so
day.
at home we beat them pretty handily.
Yeah.
And then we go down there, and I think we were up big at one point, weren't we?
Maybe in the first half we maybe came out firing. And
we were up
just,
40-24 at half.
Yeah, and then it just dwindled.
Yeah, and what was our largest lead? Lead change. Largest lead no, that was presentation. I'm sorry. Our largest lead was 16. Mm-hmm. So it never got below, like we never got to extend it or anything, and we lose that game, which was a bad loss.
Yeah.
It was a bad loss. I remember it, man. And I'm not going to sit here and jump around it. Like, shouldn't lose. Like,
No.
that's not good as a coach, not good as a player. I mean, I understand it. But then we go beat Mayville at Mayville.
Yeah,
and they were good.
Yeah, and they beat us at home too. So like.
Yeah, what did they? Always pains me to talk about stuff I don't want to talk about. But when they beat us? Oh, that it was right around that same time, right?
Yeah, it would have been that same weekend.
Yeah, they beat us by 4 at Valley.
Yeah, it was tight, really tight, I think.
Yeah, and then was that the night that all the lights went out?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. We were like right after the women's game, just a power. No, they called the women's game early because I think it was kind of lopsided.
Well, that's an interesting story. So the women's game's going on. Mm-hmm. There's like 7 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
And all the lights
in Valley
City go out. Mm-hmm. Like power, everything gone black. Mm-hmm. And I remember like staying, because it was a big game. Mm-hmm. Like I think we're fighting for a conference title, the whole thing, and this could help determine that. And we got Mayville at home, which is a game that you want to win. Mm-hmm. You want to win them all, but you got to win the ones at home.
It's kind of one of the more rival games in the conference, probably.
And so all the lights go out, and I think we waited an hour or so, right?
It might have been like 2, man. It was a long time.
I think we started the game around 8:45.
I just remember like walking through the bubble, like I was talking to my parents for a while, just kind of talking with people. I don't know, you kind of were like focused, ready to go out for warm-ups, and all of a sudden you just...
Right.
I don't know.
So we lose that game.
Yeah. And like, I bet you we didn't tip off till like, what would you say, like 10 o'clock at night?
It was not, it was not cool. There's a recap. Did they even talk about it in the recap, I wonder? They ended with a 10-2 run, so we were up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't say anything about the lights or anything in it, but yeah, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that was really just being a player. Like,
well, your whole routine is thrown off.
Yeah, like you kind of like everybody kind of gets amped up a little bit, or they're kind of doing their own thing, kind of getting like just getting that right headspace, and then all of a sudden the lights go out, and you don't know if we're actually gonna play. Mm-hmm. Pretty soon, like fans are walking across the floor. Everybody's just kind of walking around, and
right.
I don't know. But then I guess once the lights came on, everybody, I don't know, they were ready.
Well, we got after it.
Yeah, we were. I think both sides were ready to go. It was a really hard fought game.
Yeah, that was a physical, fast ordeal. I remember that. But then we have those 2 slip ups, and then we go beat them.
Yeah,
and I don't think we were losing in the game, were we? At their place, we were up by 5 at half, and then beat them in the second half again.
I feel like it was tight though. I don't know
It
why.
was our largest lead was 12.
Yeah, I think it was just
their largest lead. Yeah, so we pretty much dominated the game. They had a lead by 4 with 15 left in the first half. Mm-hmm. So they never had a lead after that.
Yeah.
So we kind of just kept on holding on to it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was fun, man. That one was a fun game because I remember walking out in the lobby and one of the fans told us that's the first time we've seen that in a while, of where somebody just kind of beat us.
Yeah. And going to Mayville, it's hard to play there. Anybody that goes in our conference up there, it's just it's our place to play. You're going kind of in the middle of nowhere, to tell you the truth, but
yeah, the tundra up there. Well, that's a good point. Let's talk about that. Your experience as a player. What was your favorite place to play, and what was your least favorite place to play?
Well, you kind of got to be biased and say the bubble. Obviously, the bubble is the best place to play in the whole conference. I'll die on that hill.
Let's just say you didn't play for VCSU. Would you still consider that?
I don't know. The atmosphere is crazy, especially when you get the student sections involved and it's a rivalry game. I just don't think that the atmosphere created is just unreal. I don't care if you're an away. I did it both ways as an away team and a home team. So
yeah, that does happen at times, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially with the transfer portal. But I would die on that hill honestly, because I even like. Is any other arenas like? Are we talking strictly North Star?
Let's talk all of them, like outside of the North Star or anything. Was there anything place cooler than that?
Well, I mean, the Pentagon was pretty sweet to go play at. That place we played at in Panama City was a kind of a neat.
Yeah, what school was that? We played at a school.
Oh gosh, I think it was a junior college too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what it was called though. I feel like it was like. It ain't Florida Gulf Coast because that's a D1 school, but I feel like it was something kind of like that.
Okay. So those places rival the bubble?
Well, we never really had an atmosphere in that place.
That's
what kind of puts the bubble over the top is just the atmosphere that gets created in there, especially with like the acoustics in there, which is, I don't know, I think that's super neat.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like, I don't know, like in high school, even in college, playing at the Jamestown Civic was always kind of fun, especially in high school, but I don't know. The bubble, I don't know. I'm a big atmosphere guy. Like, if you kind of get into a place where you kind of feel like the fans are almost on top of you and you can barely hear, I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So,
what was your least favorite?
Bellevue, 100%. Easiest one. Boom, right there. I don't care if I offend anybody. I'll say that out loud. Bellevue's gym stinks.
What don't you like about it?
It feels like an edgely, like not edgely, but it literally feels like one of the crappy gyms I used to go play at in high school. Like the lights are dim.
Yeah.
Probably got better lights since then, but like there's like 2 rows of seats up either way. The fans like feet are literally like over the end lines, like, and I don't know, it literally looks like an elementary gym that I used to go play in when
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I get it. I'm not going to give you my opinion because if other coaches listen to this, they can use it as fuel against me, or our team. So I'm not going to tell you right now. I can tell you off the air, but Bellevue's building a new one.
Oh well, I sure hope they could. Looks like they maybe have the facilities for that.
Yeah, but I think they're building. I'm not sure if it'll be ready this year, but I did see the plans, and I thought
it's probably gonna be impressive too. It wouldn't surprise me. I might have to go look at that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on campus or if it was off campus or anything, but I did see the plans, and I know 95% sure they're breaking ground this spring or something like that. But
cool, they need it.
Yeah, they need it. Yeah. I think it's got to push us to expand a little bit too. Like,
wasn't there plans maybe in place?
Yeah, we have a campaign going right now,
like
and
new lockers, indoor turf.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, we're there. Our foundation people and our president are really pushing it, and we recently got that. I can't remember how much we got from the state grant to redo McCarthy.
Okay, yep, I think I heard about that.
Yeah,
like reading something,
which is huge. Which is huge for our education department, and honestly, that's huge for our athletics too. Not only to recruit, but also to free up some of that money that we have raised to maybe help out with that new addition to the bubble. And if you're listening, you have a chance to go view those plans, and you feel like you want to be involved, give people a call, because it's, give guys like yourself great experiences in athletics. You need the proper facilities.
Oh yeah, most definitely, to be competitive too. And if you're competitive, sells tickets. Well, you don't have to buy a ticket, but at least it's fun to watch for sure.
Well, you as a player, let's just go into this. Did you feel better when you thought people were investing in what you're doing?
Oh yeah, obviously, and it goes just with anything else too. If people are like into it or engaged into it, it definitely kind of maybe drives you a little bit more, or
Right.
maybe just in everything, honestly.
Let's just say, like, you had to wear practice jerseys that were 5 years old or 7 years old. Just you can tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that send a message to you when you were a player? And it's okay if it didn't. Like, I want to get your opinion on that.
I think it honestly works both ways with me a little
Okay.
bit. Like, so I can see where, like, hey, we got nice things. That means people are invested into us. They really care about what we're doing here,
Yep.
obviously. But if, let's say, nobody, well, maybe that's not the best word, but let's say maybe we're not doing well. There isn't as many, like, maybe booster dollars coming in or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird that way. It can maybe flip my mindset to maybe prove them wrong a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, kind of maybe, like, it's a little...
You be an underdog all the time?
Be an underdog. Maybe like, well, you know what, this crappy jersey is a crappy jersey, but you know what, it's character. It's a character builder. You know?
No, that's good. That's good opinion. I'm just trying to get your perspective. Being a recent player, on how much those things actually do matter to you. And I know everybody's different, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, it definitely just shows that, like, you're, as like an athlete or like as like a student of the university, definitely like having certain like maybe things or like perks definitely makes you feel like, well, I'm a part of like a really cool university, or I'm a part of like a really cool program.
Yeah.
Definitely it helps a little bit, but at the same time, maybe it's, I can build this up to something. I can do this, I can do that to maybe inspire change in it too,
What about in recruiting? Let's just say if you're getting recruited, and you walk onto a campus, and let's just say the floor is a tartan floor. Let's say that, right? And the gym doesn't look like it's well maintained or any of those things. How would you view that coming onto that campus, do you think?
Obviously, it might not look the best at times. I don't know, perspective's everything, I guess, too.
Yeah.
If, like, I don't know, maybe you're not sure, like, if you're going to get another offer or anything, then maybe I'm going to take
that. Probably creeps in a little bit.
And maybe it's like, maybe I'll change it here. I'll be the difference maker that'll maybe inspire a little bit of change. Obviously, like, I don't know whether you call it, like, window shopping or anything like that, it definitely helps. I'm not going to say it doesn't. I think I'd be a liar almost if I said it doesn't. Like, if, let's say, you go into a place and everything just kind of looks like it's outdated, kind of looks kind of gross, crappy, it might deter some guys from wanting to go there.
Yeah. Would it deter you? Like,
yeah, maybe to a certain extent, but...
Okay. It's okay. I mean, if it didn't, certain people, come. Let's just say we were like that, which we're not. Like, I don't think that. I think people walk into the bubble and go, "This is pretty cool."
Yeah.
And, our facilities, and all those things are good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it great.
Yeah. But I mean,
they're
at the
good.
same time, like, with those facilities, I'm guessing there's maybe the people that create those, like, the people that created like those nice things, the jerseys, maybe the nice like complex that you have, maybe you don't want to be a part of that. I don't know. It's kind of, I think you got to take in the full picture with it a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
no, I totally agree.
Like, if that's what you're basing your recruitment off of, is just like, am I going to get cool gear? Is this a cool gym? Am I going to look cool? Then maybe you're basing your recruitment off the wrong thing.
Yeah,
so.
Could be. I'm just trying to gain perspective, because us as coaches and even administration have these conversations at times. When you're in recruiting, you want to try to figure out what makes kids make the decision to come to you, and how much emphasis you put on facility, how much emphasis you put on this, where do you put your dollars, and all those things are important, and you don't really want to screw those things up because that could really hurt. And in athletics, it only takes one class to be the wrong class, and you just don't want to do those things. So I'm just trying to gain a guy who's just fresh out of college. Probably in the last 5-6 years and went through the recruiting process. And how much weight you put on those things in comparison. because in my opinion, I think a kid's, I don't think they make the decision just based on the facilities, but I do think that they make it if the personal relationship is there with the coach, right?
Yeah.
And they feel comfortable with that person, but they don't have a facility that can facilitate what my dreams are, then others can come and get that person.
Yeah.
But if you can match the facility and you have the personal relationship, I think it's a done deal.
Oh,
There's nobody that can come and take that recruit from you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. It's kind of like the cherry on top or the icing on the cake, right?
Is it, and that's my opinion, Connor. I'm not saying that's your opinion or any of those things. And I just wanted to have, when we're sitting talking about those things, I'm just like, what makes a kid tick recruiting wise, and when you talk about facility and all this stuff. And
I will say with the newer age, I would probably be willing to bet a lot of it is based on that too, I will say.
What do you think that is?
I just kind of, I don't know, with not getting like way too deep into like worldly views. And
I'm
everything.
all about deep, man. I like deep. Okay, that's what makes these things interesting. Is talking about deep things.
Like, because you look on like social media, like think of how much time a 13-year-old spends on his phone looking at like all these different places across the country and all these cool stuff that these people are posting. Like, hey, woo, look at me, I got all this cool stuff, or this is at whatever SU or whatever it might be. I don't know. I think there's like a bigger influence for like that type of stuff that's getting pushed more so nowadays.
Well, and I'm not trying to make like a point to like get new facility or any of that stuff right now. I just like wanted to gain your perspective.
And hopefully I answered your question without spinning it way off.
No, you did a great job in regards to that, and I don't even know what a great job is, but I do think it gives people who might listen to us right now like a little idea of like if you're ever sitting on that fence, whether you want to donate and help out the facilities at VCSU or help give to something that whether you think it's worth it or not, right? Like that's always the big thing. Like let's just say you wanted to make a $10,000 gift today, like, and you're sitting on the fence. You're like, well, where's it gonna go? Is it really worth putting that in there to make the bubble look better, or whatever it might be? And you're sitting on that fence. You need to hear from people like yourself. Because you know what coaches are going to say. What am I going to say?
$1 today helps another kid tomorrow,
right?
Or something. I don't know, something cheesy probably.
Well, I'm always going to push for something new. Like I'm always going to push for like improving our program. Mitch, I'm sorry, waving at me. We run out of time.
Yeah, you got like 3 minutes.
Okay, we'll wrap it up quickly. But they're always, that's what I'm going to do. But hearing from a past player that was recent. And to say, it does make a little bit of a difference. I'm not going to sit there and say that it made your experience better or worse or any of those things, but in terms of like your view of VCSU. But to hear from you to say like it does matter, like I think that might push somebody to say, yeah, let's do this.
And it's like an investment in the community too. At the same time, it'll just make everything look better. I mean, how many kids on campus are athletes? It's a good chunk.
It's I forget the exact number, but we are the largest student body group on VCSU's campus. Athletics is, and if people are sitting over there and they want to know more about it, please, contact our foundation office, Corey Anderson. Dr. Lefebvre, our president, he's highly involved. And I just think if you're sitting out there wondering whether or not you should do it, by all means, help us out, help guys out like yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely. College athletics has given me so much just for the real world that it's, I don't know, the comparables that you can make is just astonishing, honestly. So even if you were an athlete, I'm just saying it definitely helps kids.
Is there anything else you want to give a shout out to anybody right now or anything like that?
I mean, just all my teammates, guys. Hope you all are doing well. Honestly, just a big shout out from Entz, all right? Already, right? Already, guys, right?
I remember that one too. So we really appreciate you coming on. Like I tell most of our guests that, we're going to do this again.
All right.
Because we didn't even tap what I want, what
Yeah.
we can talk about yet, and all that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
honestly, I was kind of shocked that Mitchell was already trying to cut me off, man. Holy.
I might have to. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
It's all about
see.
memory. We could
Yeah.
sit here for like 3 hours, but it's all about the memory. That's why we have to cut them short. So.
Okay.
If we stream these live, would there be no problem?
Oh man, shoot, maybe that's the future.
We might have to look into that, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Live from center court.
we could do that. There's an idea. I think, and I want to take the blame for that
Mm-hmm.
right now because I wasn't comfortable going on live yet.
Well, you can edit everything, right, Mitchell?
He can edit me now. But Connor, thanks for coming on, man. Travel safe home. Have a great 4th, and we're gonna do it again.
Sounds good. Right?
Talk about it.
Images made for earning. Who are they really serving? I want big smoke. Wolfing on the net, but up in person, they got strep throat. Here to make a lot of threats, but they don't never step though. Yeah, I'm a believer, by my dollars feel like Creflo. They gon' say that I